Hello everybody, today I'm going to show you how to use effectively the Kubernetes explain command. It is extremely useful, especially for the CK exam and CKD exams, because you can look up the formats of all the YAMLs for all the resources live as long as you're connected to a cluster. So it's very useful when you're trying to define resources using YAML files. To do this, first of all, you have to be connected to a cluster. First of all, I'm going to alias my kubectl command to k, so I don't have to type all the time. Kubectl. And if I do k get nodes, you will see that I'm connected to a cluster named cluster1, and that particular cluster has 3 nodes. So now that I'm connected, I'm going to first show you how cumbersome it is to look at the YAML formats for different resources in Kubernetes. Let's take a simple one. Let's take a pod. In this YAML, you can see there are different attributes, and each one may be of different data type, and not everyone. I'm not sure why this thing pops all the time. Not each one might be different. Each might have a different kind of data, different kind of values. So it's impossible to memorize all of that. It's just totally impossible. So how do you um, create resource a YAML file for resources on the fly? So this is where kubectl explain command comes in really handy. So for example, first of all, if I say k explain pod, I get all the documentation for the first level. You see, there's API version, there's kind, there's metadata and whatnot, but each one of those has different attributes under them. So now if I do the same thing and do recursive, it gives me all the little possibilities I have to create that YAML file. As you can see, this is just tremendous. Different variations you can do with this. So first of all, let's look at the first level. If I do k explain, k here is alias to kubectl, explain pod. Once again, I messed that one up. I get the first level details. So let's say that I want to know what's under spec. All I do is k explain pod.spec. Under spec, as you can see, there's a ton of different things we can define. So let's say I care about the subdomain attribute. And it tells me this is from version 1, field is subdomain, and it accepts a value of string, so on and so forth. So if we go back to our YAML file, as you can see, these things matches this. Now, imagine if you didn't know anything about the resource that you're trying to create, let's say PVC or something. So let's say, type in explain PVC. And there are the first level attributes. In this, now we can then go one level further and say, okay, what about spec of that? So not knowing anything about PVC, what it is, you now know what attributes are defined in the API resources and what kind of values that particular attribute takes. This is what you feed into an YAML file to create resources. One other thing I didn't mention is, what if you did not know what the top level resources are to begin with? If I do that, it says, hey, you must provide me a resource. Well, what are the resources? If I do explain help, it tells me that I can run this command to get a list of resources. So I run that, and these are all the resources that I can create using YAML files. For example, there are nodes. I can create nodes. I can create whatever, all of these things. So let's say that I want to create a role. I say again, I say kubectl explain roles. It gives me all the details. I can go back down one more level and say, okay, what about the rules inside the rules? It gives me the format of all the attributes and values that I can do. I hope this was useful to you, and we will see you next time.